Well, hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Oh my gosh, Julie, where have you been? I've been struggling. So let's talk about that. Hello. There's been a lot that's been going on. And besides my spit literally yeeting from my lips as I've been saying that, I have been going through it. And thankfully, we're a little bit more on the other side. And by we, I just mean me. It has been a tough time over here. And it's kind of a relaxing thing for me to be a comedic creator that plays so much in the ridiculousness of making fun of things. And then also to mix that with having mental struggles. And I feel like they're just gonna have to just get married and go hand in hand because I can't splice up myself and only just be the comedic voice because a lot of my comedy comes from I don't want to say suffering. That's a little bit that's a little bit deep. I want to say it comes from a place of really understanding how important laughing is and how incredible it is at giving us a space to breathe. Breathe. My God, give us a space to breathe. And comedy does that. And so I'm so grateful that I get to do that so often. But it is really an interesting thing to try and move through difficult things mentally and also still be giving so much. And so I'm just really grateful for your love and patience. I've explained a little bit on my Instagram stories just about the daily path that it has been, the daily path it's been. I decided a long time ago that I was going to be really open about my mental health struggles because there were times that I was going through different things and I just could not find a space where a woman who was strong and ambitious and passionate and goal driven was talking about what it feels like to emotionally feel like you're in the depths of hell, but also like, oh my God, let's post another something. Like, what is that? What is that like? I couldn't find anybody that was talking about both. And I've heard a lot that comedians are often the ones that have gone through immense amount of pain and suffering. And I don't know if that's true fully across the board, but for me, it is. And so where have I been? What have I been doing? Let's get into that a little bit. So I have been processing a lot of very difficult things all at once. And it's kind of like I give an example of like it's kind of like let's pretend for a moment that like the worst case scenario happened so many times so consecutively that your brain and your body all of a sudden just they just want a timeout. They're like, please stop putting us in, coach. Like we're good. We're at max capacity here. And that's what I reach. And I didn't know it was coming. And as somebody that's loves therapy and has been in therapy for a long time, my therapist kind of saw it coming. She was like, I'm a little bit worried for you. And I'm like, what could possibly go wrong? And it was everything all at once. And disclaimer here, the way that I'm going about explaining this is going to be vague simply because there are other people involved and those other people are not my husband. That is the first thing I want to say. I got a lot of DMs like, oh my God, are you getting divorced? Like, no, he is the most amazing ride or die, amazing man ever. But the vagueness is not because I wouldn't want to share everything. It's that because it involves other people, I understand that with an audience comes a lot of responsibility, and I have seen people not do well with that because you guys are my ride or dies, and if I even alluded to someone doing me wrong the way that y'all would go for that person. And instead what I want to do is have a conversation about what is it like to go through something hard and accept it, acknowledge it, find whatever sparkle of fun we can in it, because if we have to go through it, we're gonna make fun of it. And also recenter ourselves in the process because we can't control the trolls that are around us. And that is the thing that I've struggled with the most. If you want to talk about a daily struggle, my God, I feel like I have, I don't want to call it like a fiefdom of trolls around me. It's just that I have encountered many versions of terrible people. And as an empath and as somebody that is very emotional and very feely, I'm a feely person, it is frustrating to constantly encounter these people that seem like they're plants by the universe for my demise. And I sit with my therapist and I'm like, is it me? Am I the problem? Because I'm the common denominator here, right? Like, you always hear these stories about these people that are like, oh my God, this person was horrible, this person was horrible. And you're like, yeah, bestie, what's the common denominator? It's you. And so I was like, is it me? Pick me, therapist. Am I the common denominator? And she was really thoughtful and kind and really let me see clearly that it's actually that I have been set up with the most tragic backstory. You've seen that, the Wreck-It Ralph, where the woman that Ralph falls in love with, she's been programmed with the most tragic backstory. That's what I think of when I think of me, because how in the world have I met many people dressed up as friends, but they were really foes? And if you've been following my podcast or YouTube for a minute, I have talked about this, and I go into a lot more detail in the book. So much detail. I tell specific stories. I give characters pretend names. I add details as to not get sued. But there's a lot more detail in the memoir. It hasn't come out yet. I'm in the process of trying to find an agent. But I wanted to have a conversation here about being in journey, because that is what I was desperate for and have been desperate for in my process of being a very ambitious woman who has a lot of goals and is building a brand and all these beautiful things with you guys. And it is so challenging to feel like I'm the only one that is struggling, or I'm the only one going through it. And so that is why I want to have conversations like this, where we can laugh and make fun of the fact that, my God, when depression comes into the room, how attention-seeking, annoying is she? And I'm not saying the person that's struggling, okay? I'm saying I'm going to make fun of the fact that depression comes in and is literally like, I need to be the center of attention, and you will not be doing anything, because I'm literally going to suck up every single emotional spoon that you have, and I'm going to make it exhausting for you to literally just exist. And I'm like, I'm going to need you to have several seats. And I did not know that I not only have depression, but I also have dysthymia, which is 2 years. Dysthymia is 2 years of sadness. That you have to have 2 full years of depression in order to get diagnosed with dysthymia. And I didn't know I had it until recently. The low hum of sadness and the low hum of depression, I just got so used to it that I'm like, it's just another day. And like, no, it's actually not. It's just dysthymia. And I didn't know you could have that. I didn't even know that was a word, that was a thing. And I have high-functioning depression. I guess high-functioning dysthymia. I don't even know this thing. But depression, I have to characterize her because she's so annoying to me. Like, I have things to do. I don't want to be triggered and yeeted back into trauma from the past at any given moment. Like, I would rather not be just sitting around and all of a sudden boohoo crying. Like, I've got stuff to get done. Like, taking care of a body in and of itself is already a full-time exhausting job. Like, I do not have time for you to come in and act like you run this show, because you don't. And yet she comes in and she feels like she does. If you don't have depression, or you've never experienced depression, it is so complex and so complicated, because in my understanding of depression, which I am not a mental health expert. No. I am a comedian struggling. Let's get that very clear. Please talk to medical professionals, okay? I'm not also, I know this is going to surprise you, I'm not actually a doctor. I play one on my skits, but although my Chuckle Cheese lanyard does look legit, it is from Chuckle Cheese though. It really is. I'm not actually a doctor. So please take this and take it little grains of salt, sand even, just whispers of glitter. But talk to a medical professional, because I am not. But to my understanding, that for different people, depression shows up differently. And for me, high-functioning depression means that I can get up and do a full face of makeup. I can make my bed. I can do so much. I can even work out. I'm running uphill these days. That's how I'm helping to struggle helping my struggles is running uphill. I can do all those things, but something, let's see, what's a struggle for me? I almost crashed out because the house needed to be cleaned. I told my husband, I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry. And house cleaning for me is a trigger. There's so much, you guys. I wish that I could fully encapsulate everything clearly, but there have been things in my life that have caused cleaning to be a trauma for me, which I didn't even know that you could have cleaning trauma until one day I was crashing out because I was sweeping and I was fully crashed out, sobbing my eyes out, and my therapist helped me understand where that came from and why I have cleaning trauma, but I have cleaning trauma. So I can be doing all these beautiful things, but these areas that are more sensitive for me, I just tap out. Like, I'm like, nope, I can't do it. I can't do this today. And it's really helpful to have a supportive partner and somebody that understands. And my husband is seriously the most amazing guy ever, because when I am at my end, he's always got my back, and my therapist does as well. And it's really nice to have that, but it's such a struggle to have desires to want to do things, and particularly, being in an online space where I love making videos. I want to be making videos. I want to be doing podcasts. I want to be doing YouTube. Like, I want to be doing all things. I want to do makeup tutorials. I want to do everything, and I want to do it all, and I want to do everything all at once. And then depression is like, so you're not going to be doing anything. You're going to be sad. And I'm like, this is the worst. No, I hate this so bad. And so that's part of what I've been dealing with. And coupled with depression and anxiety, there's been situations in my life right now that have been so grief heavy, and I have not had a lot of experience acknowledging my grief. I've had grief. I've had good grief, Charlie Brown grief. I just haven't practiced allowing myself to feel these things. And as we go down this road, your brain might resist some of the things I'm going to say, and I totally get that. I too resist these things. But the reality is like, when we are not wanting to deal with something, what can happen is, imagine you have a junk drawer and you just keep putting stuff in it, and you just keep stuffing it in there. Eventually, you're not going to be able to shut the drawer, and things are just going to spill out. And it's not a matter of if it will spill out, it's a matter of when it will spill out. Or you could imagine a closet. If you just stuff everything in there, eventually your capacity is, you're not going to have any more space. And so this is what happens when we don't deal with feelings. We shove them in there and we're like, oh my God, they don't exist. This is so cool. I am fine. Everything's totally fine. And then you don't have any more capacity to deal with different things. And as somebody who has an enormous amount of capacity, my capacity is so big because I've had to deal with a lot of different things. And as somebody who has so much capacity, I got to the point where these multiple consecutive things in my life right now, it was so over capacity that I couldn't even deal with it. It was too much. It was too much at the same time. It was so stuffed. And my process in dealing with that was, I know what I'm going to do. I have to feel it all in order to move through it. And that was a healthy thing for me to do because I had support and I had therapy and I had my husband. So I took the time in the last 5 months to really eat this elephant one bite at a time of this grief that I didn't know existed. It was like the elephant in the room, but if I turned and I flipped my hair a certain way, I couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it was there, the impression of it was there, but if I just didn't look at it and I just looked at the fun things, then that was cooler and that felt better. So that's what I had done for a really long time. And then when I made space in my life through different choices and boundaries, and here's the thing people don't tell you about boundaries. When you start stepping into your hot girl healing era, let's just say that fully, hot girl healing era, and you start doing things like saying no, it's gonna feel like you're the worst person ever. And in reality, you're just saying, this is what's best for me, and I'm gonna put up a fence so that I'm over here and you're over there. And this fence keeps you safe and me safe, and it keeps our relationship healthy, right? Because, like, not everybody needs to come in our house and not everybody needs to come in our bedroom. Okay, that's why we have boundaries, right? Some people are allowed in our house, even without knocking. But people that aren't allowed in our house, that come in without knocking and then come and get in your bedroom with their dirty shoes on, that's when you have to have boundaries. And when you start putting those boundaries up, what happens is you're no longer dealing with the chaos of dirty shoes on your bed. Okay, you have clean sheets all of a sudden. You're like, oh my God, clean sheets. I love a clean sheet moment. Like, there is nothing like an everything shower, cleanly shaven legs, lotion on, and you slip into your bed and start rubbing your feet like you're a little cricket. There is nothing as delightful. I feel like that moment in Little Mermaid when she's laying in the sand and she's smiling and her hair is just beautifully arrayed. That's what clean sheets feel like to me. And when you set boundaries, you suddenly will have clean sheets in your life. And that will allow you capacity to realize, oopsie, those dirty footprints, those dirty boots that were in my bed, they actually left dirty footprints in the rest of my house. And then you start cleaning the rest of your emotional house, and suddenly you realize there's a lot of things that you never dealt with because you were too focused on the dirty shoes in your bed. And you didn't realize that by those lack of boundaries, they actually created a mess in your whole house. And so I suddenly found myself in an emotional spot where I set up lots of really beautiful boundaries for myself because I'm in my hot girl healing era. And that highlighted, if you will, the other areas in my life where I hadn't done the cleaning up of the dirty footprints of those people. And when you realize how many different sets of dirty footprints you have all over your house when your sheets are clean, it's a lot. It can be a lot. And that's why therapists are really helpful. Supportive friends are really helpful. Supportive partners are really helpful, just to help you not crash out. When you realize, oh shoot, me not having boundaries meant I was going to have a huge mess to clean up later. And oopsies, I found out that mess I actually have cleaning trauma from. Like, there's a lot of things going on. So for me, these moments I've been sharing on Instagram stories of what has been going on in my life, I've found a lot of dirty footprints everywhere. And it's really overwhelming because there's a grief of, oh my God, I didn't realize how much chaos these trolls that were in my life, these emotional trolls, not internet trolls. You guys have been really, really great and amazing. I'm grateful I haven't had too many internet trolls, some of them on other people's accounts, but not from you guys, which I'm so grateful for. But the trolls of other people's unwillingness to deal with their own dirt on their shoes before they come in your house. That for me had a lot of grief attached to it because I'm like, but why wouldn't you just wipe your shoes? Like, it's my house. Like, do you not see my cute aesthetic? Like, I don't understand. Like, not only are you coming into my house, like, and you're coming in without knocking, you literally have dirt and grime on your feet that you didn't clean. Because, like, your issues, that's not my problem. But you didn't even wipe your feet. You didn't, like, think, oh my God, let me just go ahead, clean up my own emotional mess in my own life before I come and track my mess into yours. And that has grief associated with it. Because then you have to acknowledge there's people in my life that I love that refuse to clean their dirty shoes before coming into my house. And so I have to then close the door. And I have to then push out the fence and be like, if y'all are going to have dirty shoes, you're going to stay out the street. Yes, you are. I love you. Oh, I love you so much. But I love you enough to say no. I love you and I love me enough to say no. Because the amount of work that it has taken to clean my house from the dirty shoes of people in my life in therapy, my God. The fact that the dirty shoe people never have to pay the therapy bills. The fact that the dirty shoe people that have come in the bed, messed up all the white sheets, they don't have to pay the therapy bills. And the craziest thing is like, those are the people that are like, but why can't I just put my feet in your bed again? I used to do that. Wow. I guess it's because you are just so dramatic and extra. I'm like, wait a second. I thought the extra one was you because, like, isn't it so extra for you just, like, not clean your own shoes? Like, what if we all just wiped our own feet? Like, let's try that on. Let's try, I'm gonna clean my house. I'm gonna take care of my emotional space. I'm getting a little petty here. Don't mind me getting a little petty. Why don't we all just clean our own emotional shoes? And that's what I've been doing in the last 5 months, and it has been a lot. It's been a lot because the shoe prints all over my emotional house have been really painful, because it's made me acknowledge places where people were not considerate of my wants, my needs, my desires, and my feelings. And there was so much grief associated with that, and so much pain in processing that. And it became so overwhelming because it felt like everywhere I looked, there was another place of my emotions that were affected by this. And it went back years and years and years. And sometimes I still find footprints from people and friendships and these different relationships I had where I trusted people. I trusted people to come in my emotional house, and they literally put their dirty, nasty shoes on my coffee table and then left. And it has taken so much work on my end to heal from that damage, because I thought that when you were close to someone emotionally, that they would love you and respect you. Like, that's where I used to start with people. I used to assume respect. That's what I used to assume. And now I understand, I don't know if you're going to respect me or not, and I'm going to give you a little bit of room to see what you do with that before I say, come on in, come on in, have a seat. Like, I already have depression wreaking havoc in here. The last thing I need is a catfish con artist coming in and being like, no girl, I'm amazing. I'm gonna make your life incredible. And what they really do is absolutely destroy me emotionally and take years and years and years of therapy to just heal from them. And I'm like, I'm just not at the place anymore where I'm, sign me up for that. I'm unsubscribed from any of that anymore. And so, dealing with all of this grief at once from different shoe prints all over from all the years at once has been overwhelming and exhausting. And I didn't know that was all going to happen at the same time. I didn't realize that sometimes when you're processing things, there's going to be a domino. And I think it was just like the perfect storm in my life. Like, I don't think that a lot of people go through what I just went through in a normal array of things. And mine was particularly difficult because those shoe prints were connected to other huge triggers in my life. Like, if it's one person kind of making a mess in your foyer, it's kind of like, okay, it happens. But when there's literally dirt and grime from areas in your life that are still like you're in the emotional ICU about, it makes it so much harder, because then everything feels like it's the same. And I call it like black spaghetti, if you will, where it's just kind of like an emotional like mess of feelings that everything is touching, everything's sensitive, everything feels like the emotional ICU. And to go through that as a creator and as somebody who is a comedian, which what I do for a living is I get to give joy and I get to give happiness and laughter, and to feel like emotionally I'm just one big mess of black spaghetti while I'm like desperate just to give someone else a laugh is an interesting experience, because when I'm able to create online, it's a breath for me. It's like, oh my God, like I made a skit about grief and just making fun of how like dramatic she is. Like, I imagine she was wearing dark lipstick and super smoked out black liner, so that's what I did. And I like teased my hair and I put on like super extra jewelry, and I'm like, this is what grief looks like in my mind. And creating characters out of feelings helps me tremendously. And so the fact that I'm able to create that and send that out into the world for you, and that you're able to see it and go, oh my God, yes, like that makes sense for me, it is an absolute privilege and a gift. And then there are some times in my days in my process where I'm just like, I can't create today, and I have to be okay with that even though I want to. And so I feel like what happens is, like, inside of me, there are times where depression is the loudest voice at my table, and I feel so emotionally exhausted. I feel emotionally fatigued, and I feel like I can't even make anything, and that's okay, and I have to respect that. And then I have this other side of me that's like the ambitious girl boss that's like has her clipboard out and is like, girl, you better get your act together, because everybody else is running past you right now, and literally if you do not make something, like you're, and it's just this horrible meld of ridiculousness of these different voices that are pulling me everywhere, and I've had to learn to make my voice the loudest, so all these little my little crew that's sitting at the table are hushed, because creating from a place of anxiety or making from a space of I have to so I can get is the worst energy to create from for me as a creative. And this is something I don't hear a lot of creative talks about either, is that if you're making from a space of desperation or like I need to make, or I'm gonna like miss out on this, like this energy, I don't know what this is, like this, whatever this is, if you're making from this energy, what you're making is going to have that energy on it too. It's kind of like that the anxiety inside of Riley's brain and Inside Out, that like spinning, like, oh, everything is this. And so I've learned that if I'm feeling that energy, I just stop everything and I bring it down and slow it down. And I've sat with my notes app open, processing my feelings, because I don't want to create from a space of I have to, I need to. I want to create from a space of I get to and I want to. And that is such a beautiful place to make from, because then we have genuine connection with each other, and it's not something that I'm trying to move towards from a place of anxiety, but move towards from a space of settledness and confidence. And I've learned in my creation process that it's so important to recognize what the energy is that you're making from. And so in the last 5 months, there's been days where I just can't make anything, and that's okay. And on those days I'm writing, or I'm, doing something to help me center myself and ground myself again. A lot of those days I was writing. And I feel like it's a really interesting thing to have started writing a memoir in the middle of this, because my story prior to this last 5 months has been a story of resilience and going and looking at my life from outside of the storm. Like, I was a single mother and I created a business, a successful business, from my parents' back bedroom, because I had to move back in with my parents when I was a single mom at 23 with 2 very young kids. And it's my journey of creating a business out of nothing and building a life for me and my children, and building myself again, putting the pieces of myself back together, and then finding the love of my life and watching our love story in the most beautiful way. Like, I get chills just thinking about my amazing partner and husband, my best friend, my everything, and watching him fall in love with my children and then become his children in his heart. Like, it's the most beautiful thing ever. I'm like tearing up talking about it. You can see, I'll put a link to our wedding video below so you can watch it, because it's a tearjerker. You will cry. But having that be my story, and then in the middle of all that, we went through a season I call The Rain, which was one of the most traumatic experiences I've ever been through in my life. And I was writing from outside of it. And then the last 5 months happened. And so I was writing from outside of the emotional ICU, looking in after we had gone through that. And then I was writing from inside the emotional ICU in this time. And I would say that the last 5 months were really comparable to The Rain. I'm thinking I might call this season The Wilt. I named the seasons that become so hard that they get a name. Like, naming the seasons that become so difficult. And before I really had the rain season. It's the reason that I even make videos, because I completely and totally lost myself. I was a melted candle of nothing. It had been pummeled. I got pummeled by this situation so hard that I had lost myself, and I started creating videos and making comedically as a way to find myself again. So the rain season is how I even got here. And so being in the other side of the wilt season, which I'm still not completely out of it, and writing from inside the emotional ICU, what an interesting journey that was. And I again, like I struggle with the duality of being a comedic creator, right? Like I'm creating comedically because like we need to laugh and like it brings life and it brings joy. But I understand that there's something really beautiful about acknowledging the pain in the room, because in all of our experiences of life we have that. And I think it's a lot easier to pretend that doesn't exist, because it's uncomfortable to acknowledge suffering. It's uncomfortable to acknowledge this has been really hard. This has been one of the worst experiences because of all the dirty footprints around me. It's a lot easier to pretend that doesn't exist and just keep it going. But there's something really profound and beautiful, and I feel like I want to be a lifeline to other people that might be in the middle of their moment, and to say, you can be in the middle of your moment and you can pause everything for the day. You can wake up the next day and create if you feel like it. You can reach out for help. You can, go quiet. You can write. You can dream. You can walk. You can run uphill. You can do whatever it is that you need to do. And if you take those steps day by day, you're going to get to the other side. And your other side is there waiting for you. And it might not look exactly like what you want. You might have to rebuild pieces of yourself. You might have to reinvent yourself. And sometimes in that reinvention, you get a beautiful space where you get to create, like what happened to me. And sometimes the reinvention is just getting up with that breath. And that's more than enough. And there were times in this last 5 months where the pain that I was experiencing was so intense. I felt it so much in my physical heart that I couldn't sleep. I had to get a heating pack to put on my physical heart to distract myself from the pain so that I could rest. And that sounds like such an extreme thing to do. Like I would have never even known that is something that I would ever get to a point where that would be the pain that I was experiencing. But I got to that point, and that's what I had to do. And I got to the point in some days where my therapist has really taught me a lot about grounding and coming back to the right now, because with anxiety you're constantly thrust into the future and you're reliving that even though it hasn't happened, and then your body is trying to like figure out, where am I at? Am I at the now? Am I at the future? And so grounding is like coming back to the right now. And so I had to really practice. My right now was just so small, of like, it's my next breath. That's what I had. It's like, I don't have next minute. I'm just going to take the next breath. And sometimes that's where people get. And I got there, and it was really hard, and it sucked, and it was terrible. And it's the worst. It's absolutely the worst. And we go through that. It's part of life sometimes. And it's frustrating to feel like we're alone in that. It's frustrating to feel like nobody else is having that. Nobody else is doing that. And, some of the responses that I've gotten from sharing this experience online is, a lot of people have asked me to like check my hormones, which is great. I think that's a great first step, and I've done that. A lot of people, recommended, different things. And, I think it's so beautiful that when you're going through something, the first response from people is, how can I help? And that's so beautiful, and it's so wonderful, and I'm so grateful to have a community like that. There were times in my life that I didn't have you guys, and a lot of times when I've gone through something that's really hard, people's first response to me is not, how can I help? And that was something I was sharing a little bit in my stories, is a lot of times people don't know how to hold space or have capacity for really big giants in the room. And that has been something I've struggled with a lot. As somebody who's gone through a lot of really hard, horrific things so young, I have often felt like the strongest person in the room, because I've been through so much. I've had to deal with things that people have no idea how to deal with. And so when I go through something hard that brings me to the end of me, people often don't have the emotional muscles to be able to hold me and have my back. And that's felt very painful as well. There's a grief in that as well, because I never expected that. I never expected to have gone through so many hard things that most people in their life haven't gone through, so they don't know how to have my back. They can't catch me when I'm going through it. And so I've learned that the most important thing for me is to just acknowledge what I do have instead of focusing on what I don't have. I have amazing support in my husband and in my therapist. They have capacity for me. They have the support for me. They have the language for me. They've got my back. And a lot of times the internet portrays something I don't know that is a reality for most people, which is all these people have all of these people that they're always around, and their friend groups are huge, and their wedding parties are 1,000 people. And as an introvert, I've really struggled with that because I'm like, I don't have that. And so is it me? Am I the problem again? But in reality, one of the hardest things about going through a lot of hard things is that it makes your friend group very small, because people only have so much, I think, bandwidth for other people going through stuff. And for me, who's been through a lot of things because of the different people around me, it's been very hard for people, I think, to be able to handle it. Because at some point, they're like, girl, it's enough. Like, like, this is too much. Like, you always have something going on. And I hate that sting. I hate the grief. I hate those footprints that are there, but I get it, and I have so much understanding. But I wish I had heard somebody talk about, you know what? Not everybody is going to be able to catch you when you fall, because not everybody has the skills or the emotional muscles to handle what it is that you're carrying. And I didn't know that for a very long time. Like, my goodness, if I could go back to my 20-year-old self, I would just hug her. I would say, please, we need to work on our eyebrows. It's not giving. Please get yourself some better makeup brushes. And also, not everyone's going to be able to handle what you've gone through, and that's okay. And it's okay to have even emotional boundaries of, like, if people are asking you how you're doing, like, you don't have to show them everything, girl. Like, you don't have to say everything that's going on. Just, it's okay to keep it light sometimes. Like, it's okay. You don't have to tell everybody everything to be loved and worthy and all those things. And I just wish I had learned that sooner. I really wish I had. I mean, I'm 38 now, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I could have said less. But I think as who I want to show up in the world as somebody that, like, if somebody's going through something, I got you. Like, I have capacity to deal with it, and I will have your back. And that's a part that I get to play. And my therapist has really helped me understand what role I can have in community and in my friendships because of that. And one of the things that I noticed recently is that when you've been through so much, you have learned your trauma responses. You can be in situations where most people freeze in the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn trauma response, and you get to show up as somebody who can move through that really fast so that you can take action. I'll give you an example. My husband and I were doing this amazing thing in town where we love escape rooms. We've done like almost 65 now. But there was this escape room, like, where you walk around town kind of thing. It's not really a room. It's like a Clue mystery experience. It was amazing. If it ever comes to your town, you have to do it. It's so much fun. You get clues, and you go to different spots in town, and you look at different things they set up. It's great. But we were on this long walk, and I look ahead of me, and I see this man who is laying on the sidewalk, and I see this woman hovering over him, and they're a pretty good distance away. And I immediately, I scream. I'm like, do you need help? And she's like, yes. She nods, and I bolt. Like, I am running towards this couple. There is no one stopping. Nobody is doing anything for them. Like, I am bolting to him, and I get to her, and the first words out of my mouth are, how can I help you? And he had fallen backwards on his walker, and he hit his head on the sidewalk. And he was alert. He wasn't bleeding. Like, he was okay. But I was, like, helping him up. My husband's on 911. And when I tell you, people were walking by. Like, nobody else stopped to do anything. And I realized, like, if I have to have all of these experiences that I've had to learn and go through, the one thing that I can do for other people is help. If there's nothing else that I can do to stop the trolls from coming other than boundaries and all these different things I'm doing to help me be okay, what I can do with the skills that I've learned in moving through really difficult things is that I can be the one that's running towards helping when other people maybe are in a position where that situation has caused them to freeze And we had that situation happen again recently where a medical emergency was happening in the room, and my husband just jumping up and running towards it. I'm up with my cell phone in hand, and a lot of the people around us again were frozen. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. That's a normal reaction people have in trauma, is freezing, and I've definitely frozen many a times. And so if you're somebody that has gone through a lot of different things and you have a lot of emotional muscles, please know that your gifts and your skills for your community are so important. And I know that it sucks to go through it, and I know it's the worst to have to deal with these different things and all the people's footprints. But you are really a gift to other people, because you can show up and stand up and start running towards something that other people might not have the skills or the ability to do. And it is okay. There is no shame on any of those people. It's okay, but at the same time, understand and recognize like what you have to give. And it took me a really long time to even see that, because I just felt like I'm just this big, like huge giant in the room with these obnoxious muscles that I've gotten from dealing with all this different stuff. And at the same time, my therapist was helping me understand that not only do you have this capacity, but it's one of the reasons that I'm able to create comedically the way that I am, because I see people and I see them through these different experiences that, God, like it just feels like these experiences have tried to take me out. They really have. They tried to take me out, and I'm so grateful that I got to the other side soft and light and bubbly and not hardened towards the world. Although I do have a little bit of an attitude sometimes. I do. I'm not sure where I'm gonna land in my older hot girl era. I feel like I might be a little bit grumpier, just because I feel like by that point, I mean, like by 90s, are we I don't know, like in my 90s, am I still gonna be like this light and bubbly, or am I gonna be like, are you kidding me right now? Like, not one more thing, not one more troll. I think I'm gonna be light and bubbly because my grandmother is that way. But man, it has just been a rough time. But I feel like I want to convey that even if it is a rough time, showing up for yourself, even in the smallest ways, is so significant. And taking those small steps to being okay really is so important and so valuable. It will help you reconnect to yourself. You will get to the other side. And even though I'm not quite out of the wilt season, wilting, there is a discarding of things, and then you kind of have to go inward, right? Like you got to dig your roots a little bit deeper. And sometimes people won't see the beautiful array of florals that you'll become for a hot minute, because there's so much nutrients and so much deep rootness going on, that they might not see it for a while. But just taking that time to take care of yourself is so important. Like I said, I'm not fully on the other side, but I am feeling more like myself. I took a turn in a really positive way mentally, where I started accepting things. And this is part of therapy it's so annoying. Like, it's so annoying. Like, in order to move through these complex emotions, you have to accept some of the things that are just unacceptable. Like, you have to accept things that are just, they're so black and white, and it's just like, I hate this. I want to be so black and white about this. But really, in part of healing is understanding that there is some gray area. And honestly, like, I don't like gray. Like, I don't like the gray area at all. I want everything to be black and white. And I learned that that's called being over-controlled. Like, look that up. Look up that word, over-controlled. I learned that because I learned that there are different types of therapy that treat different things. And there's one particular therapy that treats being over-controlled, and it's called radically open dialectical behavioral therapy. Did you know that there's different types of therapy? Oh my God, there's so many. EMDR, CBT, RODBT, DBT. There's a lot of different types of therapy. And I definitely have had dialectical DBT. We'll call it DBT. I've had different therapeutic treatment with that, which has been really helpful. But also, I didn't know that there is an amazing therapy that you can go and get, DBT therapy, that is an extensive therapy. And there's an extensive therapy called RODBT as well. And these therapies are like life changing. They're super incredible. I have not gone through them, but I know people that have, and they're literally life changing. The skills that they teach you and moving through these complex situations, it is worth looking into. Let me just tell you right now. And they have YouTube videos about it as well. Like, I don't know how like therapy you want to go, like I don't know the deep dive of therapy that you want to do, but in my spare time I'm like, oh, let me just watch a video about how to handle this better, how to handle that better. I don't know, I'm just like a personal development queen. So these past 5 months have been great, but also hard for me because I'm like, no, I want to be like on the other side so I can like be better and be amazing. But part of personal development is the personal and the development that is the middle. It's the middle time. It's the messy black spaghetti where everything is touching. And I'm like, no, I want to be like the cute spaghetti on the other side that's like totally fine and like everything's fine. And I think the reason why that I want to be that is because I feel so alone. I feel alone. And there's a grief in that as well. Like, I feel so alone. Like, I'm literally the only one struggling. Like, everybody else on the internet is fine. Everybody else is going through life fine. Everybody else that's creating comedically, they're totally fine. They don't have any trauma. They literally have not had a hard thing happen in their life. They're just like, oh my God, I'm waking up cute and aesthetic again. And I have friends and people that I know who when they look at their life, that's how they see it. And I'm like, that is so amazing. I don't know what that's like. That's not my story. And I wish, oh my God, I wish that I could just like look up my fairy tale and be like, and then everything was just happily ever after. And it's not that way. And so I have to learn how to make fun of it. Otherwise, I would just be really sad all the time. But if nothing else, we're going to dress up the characters and make fun of them. I do that a lot in my memoir. And it's quite a fun thing to imagine what kind of outfits all these different characters that are definitely trying to run my show would be wearing. There's a lot to that, which is part of what helps me get through it is, again, dressing up these characters and putting faces on them. So again, I'm I'm in between being on the other side of the wilt and also still being in the messy middle. And part of the messy middle is having conversations like this and still showing up and still creating, because it gives me so much joy, and also not exploiting my creative energy. And that's part of the healing process as well, is slowing down long enough to understand what we need right now. And that was a huge part of me getting out of the rain season and getting into this season that I've been in the past few years of creating and waking up every day and following that spark of joy of just making something and feeling amazing about it. And you know, DIYing rooms and creating characters and creating skits and things like that. So I don't know what is fully on the other side of this wilt season, but as I've been in journey, again, I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful to be able to use this influence I have to talk about things that are really important, like taking care of yourself and prioritizing your mental health, and you know, understanding that taking small steps to being okay really are those big steps. And especially as people that are ambitious and maybe even, you know, healing from being people pleasers, it can feel like the most important step is getting things done and getting that anxious energy out by making or striving or all these things. And for me, I just found that actually really makes it worse. So if you're in the middle of it, I hear you, I see you. If you are not in the middle of it, oh my God, how is your summer going? Like, how is your hot girl summer going? I love that for you. That is amazing. Maybe you'll need some of these things the next time that you are going through it. But since you're totally fine right now, I love that for you. You might know somebody that is going through it. And my best recommendation for that is to not assume that you know what that person needs. I am a big proponent of leaning into asking what somebody needs and not assuming that you have their answer, because sometimes when somebody's in the thick of it, it can feel like there's something wrong with them, or like there's something that other people perceive that they need to be fixed. And when someone's going through it, they're going through it, they're moving through it, and that's the way you get through it, is you move completely through it. And so sometimes it feels like, and I know I felt this way in my life as well, it's like when somebody's going through something, I want to fix it. And the best thing I've learned is to ask, what do they need? Because I don't have their answer. But like when I ran up to that woman, I said, how can I help? Because I don't know the medical needs of the individual that is not okay, and I don't know how to support him, and she's gonna know. And he ended up being okay. His daughter was a nurse, and she was on her way there. But I definitely told him, I was like, listen, I've had a concussion from hitting my head on the table, like, go get help. But he, that was just my opinion. But he had support. But I think that just remembering that sometimes it can feel like we have people's answer, but particularly when someone's going through a depressive episode, it's just really important to ask them what they need, because their emotional spoons could be so depleted. It might sound good to us of like, oh, I know what you need to get out of the house, you need to go do this, you need to go do that. And for me, when I've gone through my depression, certain depressive times, it was too many emotional spoons to even like put on sneakers, much less like leave the house. So just ask people what they need, and if they're not able to tell you what they need, just being there for them, listening to them, I think is really, really important. So thank you guys for being there for me. Thank you for being patient as I have gone through this journey, and for being so lovely and wonderful. And I look forward to being fully on the other side and having all these dumb muddy shoe prints all over. I think the reality is that we all have marks left by other people who were irresponsible with our hearts, even if they were not meaning to, even if they were not meaning to be rude. But the reality is that a lot of people have a lot of unprocessed pain and trauma that they don't realize is tracking pain all over people's houses. And so what happens in our dynamic and our relationships is that we have a lot of frustration from people not realizing that they have issues that they need to deal with. And that is one of the reasons why, for me, I am such a huge proponent of therapy in my life, because I don't want to track any footprints on anyone's life from my own unprocessed pain. I want to come into people's lives with clean, cute shoes, preferably heels, I think, with glitter. I mean, I'm not opposed to like a cute boot or whatever, but anyway, clean shoes, so that when I come into someone's life, I leave them with light and love, and not more pain from not dealing with my own ish. And I've taken that super seriously, not only as a mother, but also as a wife as well. And that is the reason why I love therapy, because I want to deal with my own stuff, because it's my own stuff. And I want to be asking my therapist, please tell me what is wrong with me. Tell me what I'm not seeing. Tell me what I need to see that I'm not seeing. And it's really amazing and a privilege to have somebody that can say, here's your mirror. Look in the mirror of yourself. And it's less comfortable to be other people's mirrors with those boundaries of like, oh my God, look at your shoes. Did you see them? Here, look at them. A lot of people don't like that. They don't like that, but sometimes it's necessary, because a lot of people will project their own dirt onto you and be like, but your house was so dirty, that's why my shoes are dirty. It's not because I had unhealed trauma that I decided not ever to deal with and then cause ish in your life. It's just because you were dirty. And maybe some of that's true, but also let's just all take responsibility for our own stuff. Let's just start doing that. Oh my God, I would love that so much. That'd be my favorite thing ever. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. And I am so grateful to be here. Please like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. I would love to know what you think. I feel like it's so vulnerable for me to talk about deep things, because I'm like, you guys love me comedically. And then when I talk about deep stuff, I'm like, I hope you love that too. Oh my God, is this okay? And I feel the feelings of my body right now of like the warm feelings that aren't fuzzy. Like it's the warm, oh, I hope this is okay, because I know you guys like love the humor, but I am also a very deep person. So anyway, I hope that this was wonderful for you and you loved it. And if you didn't, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine if you don't like me. No, it's fine. Like, subscribe, follow, and share this with somebody that it could be helpful. Maybe someone's going through it. Maybe they just need to understand that even if you have cool friends hanging out with you on the internet, you still go through grief and trauma and you still have mental illness. Yay! But anyway, please take care of yourself. Please, please, please be taking care of yourself. It's so important that you take care of yourself mentally and find the support that you need. And hopefully this helped you along your journey. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye!